I don't know if my slides can be. You have them? Okay. So before that comes on, so Mr. Resanya has really talked extensively in terms of what green financing and what we should do to make sure that we attract it. Um, so my focus really will be focusing on the food and beverage sector, which is the sector where I play a critical role. Or my members, I represent Coca-Cola Company, but with me here is also the Food and Beverage Recycling Alliance, which is an alliance we midwife and set up years ago, and it's part of our strategic objective as a collective responsibility from the industry to help tackle some packaging waste in Nigeria. So before that comes on, so we so we have a packaging problem in Nigeria. So when we look left and right, even from our homes to the plastic waste management authorities that come every morning to collect your waste, there's a critical challenge because our waste are not being separated. So what you then see is a commingling of various kinds of waste. Even now with the pandemic, the medical waste has also increased in terms of masks, as been pointed out. So how do we solve that challenge? And as industries, that is why so I will speak from the Coca-Cola perspective, and I'll do the next slide, please. So this is our CEO, James Quincy. In 2019, at Davos, we made a public commitment. And that commitment is that we recognize the fact that we have a global packaging problem. As industry leaders ourselves, we have a full commitment to help solve it. So, and that is where he made a statement to say that call forward waste. And what waste? We believe that we all generate waste every day. From the time you wake up to the time you go to bed, there is a critical mass of waste you generate. But how do you ensure? Because your waste is someone else's resource. What you call waste today, if well managed, it's somebody's raw material. And in countries where we have the infrastructure, like Mr. Resanya deeply touched on, every step of the way, those wastes are recycled into another material that do not cost us environmental menace. So, in Nigeria, how will all of us, because it's going to be a collective responsibility, from the corporate perspective, next slide, we are aware that this commitment do exist, at least from the Coca-Cola side. I would also want to show you other commitments that we have from the industry to actually let you understand that we have decided to be part of the solution because we are also part of the problem. So this is from the Coca-Cola perspective where we are saying that, next slide please, that there are three methods how we're going to be part of this solution, or the industry rather. So first of all is on the design of how do we design the packaging material that we use to bottle our beverages, because it has to start from the design. Today, we see waste that end up in the environment that are not recyclable. We want to stop that. We want to design better bottles, the material. They get to the environment or after they are consumed, because we are interested in how they are going to be collected and recycled. And with that, we are making a commitment that first of all, we have to ensure 100% recyclability. What it means is that every packaging material we use must have 100% recyclability, meaning that if you collect them, there is someone, or if we have the right infrastructure, we should be able to recycle all of them. Then, additionally, we want to inject or use in our value chain, 50% of our packaging material should come out of recycled content, meaning that closing that loop is what we want to achieve by 2030. And on collection, We are aware that we are at a very low level in Nigeria. So we want to achieve 100% collection. Enable. When we say enable, so people have asked me, do I return back the bottles to you? Coca-Cola is not a recycling company. What we are saying is that we will enable people who have built their businesses around collection, aggregation, and recycling. And that is how we come in. Then on the partner, of course, the last pillar is the partnership, because we recognize that we cannot do it alone. And that is why we are here in this room. All of us, everyone within the value chain, has a responsibility to play. We are all consumers. You use the packaging material. What do you do after you have consumed any product, for example, or you have used, be it in cosmetics, in terms of the fashion industry? What do you do with that material that we have utilized? It is very important as we work together to close this room. The next slide. This is just to show you a global commitment and also a local commitment. This is Nestle. We have Diageo. I will save us the time because we are running short of time to read to you, but I would like you to Google these companies and you will see that from PepsiCo to Nestle to Diageo to Unilever, who are members of FBRA today, all have global commitments, local commitments being tracked, because what it means is that every year we have a responsibility to tell the world how we are playing in every of those commitments. And we are under scrutiny. We are being scrutinized by various governments, NGOs, and individuals on how we are doing on that commitment. So having that commitment alone will tell you that we are not lagging behind or on how we are providing solutions. The next slide. So that is where the action comes. We are taking action on our packaging. And the next one, for that action, like I shared, from the way we design the materials, on the recyclability of the materials, achieving 100% recyclability, to how they are collected, working with all of us and partners, and that is where the Lagos Recyclers Association of Nigeria comes in, Recyclers Association of Nigeria, and each of us in this room. And also, most importantly, we recognize where our core competence lies, which is creation of love. We are going to be using our brands to inspire, to teach, to educate, to call to action people that after they finish using those or enjoying the goodness of those bottles, they have a responsibility to also make sure that they are recycled. And that takes me to the next one. This is just to show you the journey that we have made. Before now, we had those bottles in very thick plastic packaging material. If you have noticed, over time, that has changed. Because we keep reducing, because first pillar is that we also need to reduce the amount of materials that go to the environment. A lot has happened, where we are also making sure that less of the plastic are used to manufacture this packaging material. So you see the bottles becoming lighter. That's a part of packaging design that we are working to achieve, so that less of the plastic goes to the environment. And over the years, a significant improvement has happened to this packaging material. So sometimes, even with your hands now, you can actually shrink the bottle, so that even people that collect, it occupies less space. So this is actually a critical step. And that takes me to the next slide. Also to let you understand that plastics, yes, single-use plastic, everybody talks about it. We all understand that even with the pandemic, you want your materials delivered for you at your doorstep. You demand on-the-go packaging. They have also helped us in terms of how we preserve our food. Just take a picture or have a mental picture of yourself and your refrigerator. You discover that from the food you cook or how you refrigerate, there is no how you will not use this plastic packaging material. And that is why recycling is a critical step on how we are going to solve the challenge together. Because food and beverage packaging, it's an everyday part of our lives. It's useful in the way we have also, in terms of food preservation, and the way in our health as well, because it has reduced food poisoning to a great extent, contaminations and the likes. However, if disposed improperly, it becomes an environmental menace. And that is why, even in the recycling value chain, this is just a picture. This is a picture of all our brands lined up to tell you the carbon footprint of recycling each of them. Because we have also had a feedback. Coca-Cola and PepsiCo was among the few companies that have only bottles. You know, while we were growing up, you know that after consuming your bottle, your glass bottles, you return it back to the next shop. But that has changed over time. It is still a critical part. We are actually asking people, if you're eating in a restaurant and you're eating in, you don't need to take the plastic bottle. Demand for the glass bottle. Make it a habit. By the time you keep demanding for them, the shop owners will buy them. Because right now, when you engage them, they say people don't want it. They demand for the plastic, so that by the time they remain it, they walk away with it. And immediately they are finishing, of course, we fling it to the environment. Let us pay attention. If all of us here in this room today become conscious that when you go to your neighborhood store and you and your friends are eating in that location, please ask for the glass bottle. It's cheaper for you. It's not as expensive as the take-away pack that you usually go with and pollute the environment. If you're holding your parties and there's somebody the dealer by your side that has the glass bottles, it's just that we became so lazy that we don't want to, after the party, return the bottles. Now, the demand for the one-way pack is heavier than the glass bottle. But if we can change that social habit, because it's still there for us, it's just that we are seeing a decline in the way they are being used. And we are encouraging shop owners, restaurant owners, retailers to sell more of the glass bottle. Of course, in situations where you cannot, of course, the plastic or the PET bottles are also there for you. So, but then, the truth is that recycling the plastic bottle emits less carbon footprint than the glass bottle. But the good thing is that the glass bottle will have to be reused over and over again before it's eventually recycled as well. And then, the next slide. So for us in Coca-Cola and in FIBRA is the Industry Alliance, where today we have over 17 critical players in this sector coming together to finance programs, help set up infrastructure, enable the value chain so that we can all achieve the circular economy. We are working to prevent this kind of sins. So we are fully aware that this is rainy season. Some of us have been opportunity to see some of these pictures in the past. Our goal is to prevent some of this from happening. Even we don't want the plastic to get to the dump site. Because by the time they get to the dump site, it's more expensive to recycle. Collection is the problem. We expose the scavengers. We want to separate it from source so that these bottles can be cleaner and 100% of it, or almost 100% of it, can be recycled into another packaging material or another product. And that takes me to the next slide, where we are saying that we are working to actually close the loop. That circular economy. We are moving away from linear to circular. And like Dr. Oresanya said, for us in Coca-Cola, way before today, it has been a journey we started as far back as 2005, when we launched our bottles in PET, because we recognize that it's going to be a problem along the value chain. So the first foremost recycling company we have in Nigeria, and I saw them outside the room, they are still here, very much recycling in Lagos, was Alchem. 2005 was a partnership between Coca-Cola, Nigerian Bottling Company, and Alchem to ensure that those plastic bottles are uptaken from the environment and converted into another material. We are excited that that partnership is what it is today. Have we solved the problem? No. It is still lying within us. That is why we need to do more. Therefore, down the line, we have championed the coming together of other like-minded companies to set up a PR organization, which is FIBRA, that is well here today, working with thousands, working with some of the recyclers, Lagos Recyclers or Recyclers Association of Nigeria, to help them scale up their businesses. So that this adding value to the plastic bottles is what we lack in Nigeria. And Dr. Oresanya actually explained it very apt. Rather than keep flaking the materials and exporting it to other countries where they add higher value and they return it back to us. And at the end of the day, we are not creating jobs enough. This is one sector that, if well managed, can create thousands of jobs, can create materials that can equally be exported to other countries. And at least we are creating the after 3 days zone. So that is, we have to take conscious effort on how we enable that value chain. And that takes me to the next slide in terms of what FIBRA has actually done over time. I know RSA is here and she has a panel session and she will elaborate more on that. But I just wanted to highlight the gap that we have. Why are there no recycling infrastructure in Nigeria? Because it's a lucrative business. It is a sector that can attract FDI. It's a sector that can enable young graduates, employ people, and yet we have waste all over Nigeria. The plastic waste is enormous, around everywhere, and causing a menace. Before now, there was no policy that allowed the use of food-grade recycled materials, meaning that Coca-Cola cannot use the recycled material to bottle the beverages. But from the partnership of FIBRA and some other stakeholders, we've been able to get SON and NAFDAC have a standard that allows recycled materials to be reused for bottling in our operations. And that is a good news. And with that evolution, it has taken time, but it's gradual but surely. I can tell you that next year, when I come back here, I hope to share more progress, and we would have seen it because that was what is going to cause the pool. As the materials are being collected, what are they being turned into? So I am optimistic in that few months from now, because I've worked with extensive partners who are already at the point of completion of a bottle-to-bottle facility in Nigeria, meaning that they're going to produce resins out of recycled materials that Coca-Cola can use to meet our 2030 aspiration, which is having 50% recycled content. But what it means is that those recycling companies are going to be great off-takers to most of the people in this room who are collectors. And definitely the value of the plastic bottles we see going up gradually, but not to the extent that the recycler will go bankrupt, because we have to regulate it. Yes, we need to demand more value to the plastic bottles that are being collected. But again, it's a tricky situation. And that is why we need that plastic bottle to be clean, not from the dump site. Because by the time it goes to the dump site, I tell you that the infrastructure required to decontaminate and rewash it will not make economic or commercial sense. And we end up having a moribund sector. The industry is fully committed. We've been working with all partners. It looks as if FDI is not moving, but I can tell you that a significant progress has made. We are at the stage where we are going to then, you stage you crawl, and they say that you run. And I can tell you with confidence that next year, when I want to come back here in this forum, I am very optimistic that significant progress will be shared on how that journey and the collection rate would actually jump. And this is some of the notable intervention the industry has driven. I know is how can Nigerian corporates also do more in terms of funding, infrastructure, funding initiatives that will drive the whole value chain. We have a lot of partners that we have worked with in the past. And I can say that now that we have seen, because what has also slowed down the progress is that if too many bottles are collected and there's a glut, where are we taking them to? Nobody is really using them and adding extra value in Nigeria. And we took a decision that we are not going to encourage exports because we want our materials to be recycled in Nigeria. So we are at that point now where we have a lot of people who are recycling and adding value in Nigeria. And the journey has just started because increased investment from the corporate sector. We are working together and we are putting our heads together in the next 12 months. We all are pulling our resources to really set up and work with Lagos Recyclers Association, brand members, and innovative individuals who have ideas. The MD of Loma shared the backup app evolution in terms of how do we leverage technology so that we can drive efficiency in collection. How do we, so not just in Lagos, but of course we know that when we get Lagos right, the rest of the country will follow. And that is the point and our commitment that I'm giving as Coca-Cola here today in this room. And also as FIBRA, that we will double our efforts. We are increasing our investments in terms of making sure that we enable this sector, but we can't do it alone. That is why assessing the green bond that Dr. Rosena talked about is also important. How do you structure your business? Because the recycling sector is a business. We have to wake up in Nigeria. It's not supposed to be a grant-led organization, because any grant-led organization will not survive. You have to look at it as a business model. You have a business. That business needs to be lucrative and have good return on investment. It's a sector that can employ people. So you need to be ready. So even the sector that has to be enabled, there has to be basic criteria on how you can attract this funding. Structure your business. Learn about it. The information now is enormous. A lot of people have done it. So don't be laid back. So that when the opportunities present, you are right there and you have the right documentations to attract this funding. So I'm employing members of Lagos Association of Nigeria in this room, members of RAM, young individuals who are looking for where to actually innovate. Please learn the rudiments of how to make sure that you attract this stream fund that is existing. A lot of international communities are looking for people, young minds, that can create ripples in the society. And the waste sector is a critical example. Because if you are able to submit a very good proposal, we have End Plastic Alliance, we have MacArthur Foundation, there are so many international organizations with funding and looking for where to invest in. Let us position and let us have access to the right information. Go to the internet, follow them on LinkedIn. These informations are available. It's just that our people are not critical and are not ready to see how to attract this funding. So I'm opening up our eyes. From the corporate side, we will double our investment in that side. I'm assuring you that the sector is super ready to fly at the moment in Nigeria. But then, as people that are in this sector, we need the buy-in, and some of the things I actually showed in terms of infrastructure support. We understand that you need a lot of production equipment to be able to take you from where you are today to the next level. Because we need sufficient feedstock for these industries to run. They cannot afford to run at below capacity. And that has been the biggest gap they tell us today. That after putting this big infrastructure that they have put up, how can they command enough feedstock that will be available for everybody? Alchem still runs its operation. So there's going to be a lot of people that will produce to fiber, another person that can produce to, there's an industry that is coming out to produce strapping belts, for example. But then, there's another sector that will produce to the bottle-to-bottle facilities. We have enough materials. We are 200 million Nigerians. We introduce around 200 metric tons of plastic into the environment every year. So for me, I am so optimistic that if they are well collected, we have enough feedstock to feed into all these industries, and we'll be able to create jobs and command a foreign direct investment. So on behalf of myself, of Coca-Cola, and FIBRA, I am telling you that we are positioned, and what you will see from us in the coming months is a kind of partnership where we are going to come together to see how we will drive the circular Lagos that we would like to see. So with you, we say that in Nigeria without waste is possible.
This is ONYEMELUKWE speaking.
Not loud enough. Can we just put it together?
This is NWAMAKA.
For those who just walked in, of course, we've been listening to
today, Thursday, the 20th of May 2021,
and communications
at the main auditorium of the University of Lagos, Hoopla TV
nothing more to add. We'll move straight
See you
on
at the next video. Remember
understanding
to
the fundamentals of the new Lagos, the new Lagos
of this
plastic
program
waste policy.
and more of
I'm very interested in this
entertaining,
one,
educative, and
it's
inspiring.
my pleasure to welcome here